a list of stars that never ends. You're our guest in the front row. Now it's time to start the show. Branson Webcast Show, interviews with folks you know. Come along and join the fun. In our books, you're #1.
From the live entertainment capital of the world, you're listening to BransonWebcast.com with your hosts, Hamner and Barber.
It's not TV or radio, just one click, download the show. Grab some coffee, take your seat. We've got friends you'd like to meet. Branson Webcast Show, Hamner, Barber, here we go. Laugh along and have some fun. It's a show for everyone.
We're on the World Wide Web at BransonWebcast.com. And now, here are your hosts, Hamner and Barber.
Well, thank you, Craig Burnett and Ricky Bowen and Texas Mud for our theme music. Hey, I'm really excited. We have Ron Seggi here today, folks, and I'm going to let Ron tell us a little bit about his background, a lot about his background, because he's a very, very varied individual. But you've been here in Branson for several years doing different projects, and you're here in town right now doing what?
You're actually going to let me do this? I don't know if we have enough time for me to do this.
We got plenty of time. You feel free.
Okay,
today, Ron.
That's the last thing you want to say to a guy who does a talk show is feel free to talk. But no, I started coming to Branson probably about 10 or 12 years ago at Silver Dollar City. And we were doing our nationally syndicated radio show, which originally, and still does, originate from Universal Studios in Florida. And it's kind of a Tonight Show, the best way to say it. You know, we'll have on, maybe Jay Leno, and then we would have on a comedian like Howie Mandel. We've even had a couple presidents on and stuff. And, it's just kind of a variety show. It's a variety show of radio. And so we came out here, I think it was, probably, like I said, 12 years ago at the Silver Dollar City. And then the Welk people brought us out. My pal of 35 years, Bobby Vinton, brought me out. And then we played here for a year with Ed McMahon on Tonight Show Memories, which was a stage show. And I got to the point that I really and truly knew Branson just as well as I knew Orlando, as far as driving around was concerned. I knew, somebody said take the back route. I knew how to avoid the problems on 76. I thought to myself, I should become an honorary citizen of Branson. I love the town. It's got, I love Las Vegas, but I'm not a gambler. So the reason I go to Las Vegas is to see the shows. Well, this is a perfect city for a guy like me. Sure. I can see all the shows I want to see. I can have the great meals in the world, and I don't have to be bothered by the gambling because I'm not a gambler. I work too hard for the money, so I don't want to lose it. So that's how I got kind of orientated to this area, and I think the world of it. I really do, and I'm not saying that because I'm on your show and you'll throw me off if I don't say it.
Now you have your own live show, right, coming from Orlando.
Orlando,
right?
From Universal Studios. It's every weekend on the USA Radio Network. We stream on my internet site, which is ronseggi.com, a blatant plug, RONSEGGI.com.
Well, the plug, the domain name will come up.
Come
right
on
now,
down.
so, yes,
okay.
So.
And also we're on Armed Forces Radio, cable radio network, which gets an enormous amount of coverage throughout the country. And I'll actually come to your house and do the show if you really, I'll go. Yeah, I'll go.
You're remote. You go to remote.
I'll go any location just to get the thing on. So people are listening to it. I'll come to house parties, bar mitzvahs, anything you want.
Well, if you came to the gift shop of the Hamner Barber Theater, we know you'll go anywhere.
This is a beautiful theater. This really is gorgeous.
Thank you.
It looks like Graceland when you pull up.
With the pillars, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
So you have opened and sang for a number of entertainers and stars.
Yes, yes, I have.
Well, tell us about some of those.
Well, what happened was back in the late 60s, and I'm really aging myself now, when I was a disc jockey, I would sit and I would listen hours on end to these songs, right? And I'd say, I can do this, So when I graduated from college, I put my college degree to work. I went into a recording studio, which was, not with the intent, I'm sure, my parents. And I started recording. So I really enjoyed that. I really did. But I was still a disc jockey at the time. I did kind of two things. But I had the opportunity working with Bobby Vinton, with Pat Boone. I'd go out and warm up, Ed McMahon. And so that's how I got in the singing end of it. And I miss that. I mean, everybody knows me as a radio or television announcer. And, that's my bread and butter daily. But if I won the lottery, Okay.
I thought you weren't a betting man.
Well, and I.
Okay, we're
See, and I'm also
we're retracting that one.
I'm also a liar too. So let's get that straight. Now, if I won the lottery, somebody said, "Here it is," I would go back to singing because that's what I really. Because I figured it out that the reason I got into radio, I always tell people, "How'd you get into broadcasting?" I say, "Well, I like the smell of the cables, I like the microphone, and everything else." But after I thought about it, it was always the music. It was always the music, and that music got me into ownership of radio stations and administration ends of that. And then I realized at some point that I wanted to go back into the talent end of it because that's the part that I liked. So now I got an ideal situation. I have the business end of it with our production company where we do infomercials, political campaigns, everything. And I also, can go out and be the talent end of it. Actually, I took the cue from our old friend Dick Clark, who told me one time that his company would do an industrial film or they would do the American Music Awards. So that's kind of how we model this.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not as successful as Dick Clark, but I figure if I stay close to the tree long enough,
there you go.
I'll get some of the bark.
So you actually did a show here with Ed McMahon.
Yeah.
In town.
The show that we did here was with the American Kids. And that was where Ed would go out and he would do his routines and play clips of The Tonight Show. When we left Branson, what we would do is we would turn around and we would do an actual show that was called The Tonight Show Memories. And that show was a show that was strictly dedicated to Johnny Carson and Ed McMahon's version of The Tonight Show. When we did the show here, Ed would do a bit about Karnak, and then he'd bring on, Ambrose Lee, and then he'd do a bit about W.C. Fields, and then he'd bring. So it was kind of intermixed, if you will. When we take it on the road, of course, we don't have the American Kids with us, so we do it in a different version.
So you're visiting Branson now this week?
We're broadcasting from the Dick Clark American Bandstand Theater, which is a great place.
It's a beautiful theater.
Gosh, great place. And we got Andy Williams that's going to come over, and Mickey Gilly and Jim Stafford and Yakov and I shouldn't do this because as soon as I leave somebody out,
the list is endless.
The list is endless. We had George Harrison's sister over there,
Louise,
yeah. And it just the you're going to come over. Jim's going to come over. We're going to
anybody that's anybody.
Anybody, it's anybody. We have the guy. There's a fellow that parks the cars over there. He's head of security. He's headlining the show.
Head of security is going to be over there.
He's going to be there.
Well, so let's go back to this. You were 14 years old, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
When you were a DJ.
Yeah.
And had a show. Now, what was that show all about?
I'll tell you what happened. When I was 7 years old, my father brought me to a radio station. It was a Sunday afternoon, and my mother was at a wedding shower. And he said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "Well, do you want to go to the park or something?" I said, "No." I said, "Let's go to a radio station." That kind of intrigued me. And he advertised on the station. So we went over to this radio station, and I was 7 years old, and I watched this guy. In fact, he's a guest on my show this week. He's like 82 years old because I ended up working with him. And what happened was I watched it, and I got out of the station, I told my dad, I said, "That's what I want to do for a living." Now, he and my two brothers and my mom are in the storm window and door business, home improvement business. And I said, well, he told me, so you go to college, you do anything you want. I said, but I want to do that. He says, one of the reasons why is that you don't have to shovel snow in the cold, and you're in an air conditioning environment in the summer. I wasn't looking for the monetary end of it. I just looked at it. It looked like a nice, easy job. Well, when I was about 10 years old, my brother, who's here today, built me a little transmitter that could broadcast, like a couple block radius, and I did that in my basement. Well, when I went to high school, I was like 10th grade, one of the teachers was a radio announcer and television announcer, in addition to his teaching responsibility.
And where did you grow up?
Erie, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Erie, Pennsylvania. And I'm sure you've been there many times.
I've been to Erie. I have
You
been.
have?
Yes.
Really?
I've performed at every college in the area up there.
Oh, I graduated from Gannon University.
I performed at Gannon University.
Did you really?
Yes, I have. I've been to about 2,000 colleges around the United States. So if you have a college near you, I've been there.
Yeah, I graduated from Gannon University. They were very glad to.
They still talk about you.
They were very glad when I graduated. Yeah, they were ecstatic, in fact.
Really? Okay, so back.
Okay, so anyways, the fellow that was a newscaster was also my homeroom teacher, and I told him what I did. I said, I built this little radio station. I got this thing in my basement. And he said, that's kind of interesting. So he came over and he says, you know what? He says, let me bring over the program director. So the next night, the program director of this radio station, the teacher, my mother and my father were in the kitchen upstairs, and I went downstairs in the basement and went on the air. They called me upstairs and they hired me. I couldn't even get to work because I didn't have a license, you know. So I used to work the weekends, and I was a disc jockey. So I thought it was really a big deal when you're in high school, and they made me the music director. Well, I realized very quickly that when you're real young and you're real dedicated, you work a lot of hours that they don't pay you for, and if they give you a title, they get a lot of work out of you for nothing. And that's primarily what they did, you know. So I was the music director, and of course I was the youngest guy there, so I was more in tune with what the hits were and stuff like that, and had my own office, and it was kind of cool. It was a good beginning.
Good beginning.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, we hope you have a great new beginning here in Branson.
Yes.
We'd love to see you back in town.
I appreciate
and we appreciate you coming on our webcast today.
And you got a busy
Thanks
schedule.
for dressing up today, too, by the way.
You know, I have to tell you something. I got to be the only radio guy that wears a
But
tie.
this is wool.
I know that.
It's a very nice suit you're
Yeah,
wearing
yeah.
here, Ron. I'm impressed.
Well, you know, I got it cheap, and I figured, why not? But you know what happens is that everybody I see go to work in the radio business, they always feel like they don't dress up because they don't have to. So, and I always, when I go to work, you know, I may be doing an interview with somebody, but then 2 hours later I might be in a business meeting. So I always have to kind of straddle the fence a little bit, and I figured that and I feel like I got to get ready for the show. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You know, like when you go on stage, you kind of got to get ready. You know, and so that's kind of what I do. I just
You're getting ready.
I'm getting ready. Okay.
Well, I think you're there. And Ron Seggi, thank you for stopping in once
thank you,
again.
gentlemen.
Ron Seggi live from Universal in Orlando, Florida.
That's right.
And you're going to see him on this once again. You can see him on that website right there and get a hold of him.
RonSeggi.com.
Exactly.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. This has been a delight. You are a terrific host. You really are.
Bless you. Thanks for watching.
You've been listening to BransonWebcast.com with your hosts Dave Hamner and Jim Barber. Join us next time for more interviews, music, and fun from Branson, Missouri.
Y'all come back and hear us soon. Hope you liked our little tune. Next time on the internet, we'll have new friends you haven't met. Branson Webcast Show, spread the word to all you know. On the web and having fun, it's the show for everyone.
This is your announcer, Craig Burnett, saying thanks for joining us and come back real soon for more fun at BransonWebcast.com.